Guys, let's have a quick look at how we can deploy our application to Azure Container Apps. Now, as you can see that I have navigated to my Azure portal. I'll click on the Container Apps, click on Create. So this is the Azure Container Apps options that you can set for your container apps. Let's say you can use subscription, whatever subscription you have access to. Let's say in this case we use MPN Dev, one of the subscription that we have, and the resource group. Let's say we use our this a resource group, and you can name your application according to that. Let's say I name it Ecom, and we have option to select our region. Right now I have selected UAE North for the low latency. You can select according to your required need. And so we can have a container apps environment. Let me briefly tell you what container apps environment is. So let me create. So what container apps environment is? So basically container apps environment basically houses your configuration for your container apps, just like the resource group. Now in the Microsoft Azure, resource group houses our resources, that whatever resources we have deployed, we have to house them in a package called resource group. So similarly to that, we have Azure Container Apps environment. Let's say I have a multi-containerized application. There is one or more containerized, and I want to use the same environment. I cannot go on and make a new one, but I can use the previously existing one. So let's say we name anything our environment. Let's say we have masterclass, env. Okay, then we have monitoring. Now we have log analytics workspace. Now what log analytic workspace is for, basically storing our application logs, where we can see the application logs easily. So we can use the existing one, we can create a new one, just name whatever you want to name it. Let's say masterclass log. Say okay. And for the networking part, now this is very important part that you have to look now, that we Azure Container Apps allows you to use your own virtual network. So if I click on yes, we have definitely we have a VNet that our resources have been deployed to. So for that purposes, you can select your virtual network. If you have created, for right now, I will be going with the no, but you can also deploy your container apps in a specific virtual network of your need, of your choice. Let's say create. Now this will create our environment. Now let's move on to the app setting. Now by default, Microsoft Azure, for your better understanding and helping of the container apps, gives you a quick start image as well to use. It's a Hello World container, but for today's lab session, today's purposes, we will be using our custom image or custom repository. So we can have our images from Docker Hub, or we can have our images that we have pushed to Azure Container Apps. For these purposes, we have pushed one Docker image to our Azure Container Registry. So we will be selecting that. As you can see, ecom ACR. So let's say we have one image that has been uploaded. It's ecom app 001. Let's say we have the tag, select latest. Now, as one of the guys, as Haris answered one of the question about regarding the CPU and memory usage, we can see that we can allocate our container resources. Like here, you have a bunch of different options according to your application scope that you can select. You can go with the 2 vCPUs, and these are the options that your replicas will be running on. So for now, let me go with the minimum resources. Now we have application ingress settings. Now, as if guys are familiar with some Kubernetes, you can see that what ingress is. Ingress is basically used to allow your application to receive some traffic from internet. So we have ingress options, as we studied for the container apps, that we have some access to our underlying microservices. So this is one of them. You can limit it to container apps environment only, or you can limit it to accepting traffic from anywhere. It will basically allows the internet to access our application. From the internet, we can access it. So we can enter the desired port here. Let's say it's 80. That is the port that our container will be listening on. Let's go on tags. Here we can assign our tags according to the resources we want, but for now I will not assign any tag to that. Preview and create. Now it will run some validation here as it says running. So as yes, let me create. So what happens is that will create one of our container apps environment where our application is hosted, right? So for that purpose, this was the purpose to show you that how the deployment is done. Definitely, if we wait for that, it will take some time, 10 to 15 minutes. But for you, we have already in a similar manner, we have deployed one of the or e-commerce application for your assistance, just because to keep it short and interactive as well. Here I will navigate to my container apps. I will select my sponsorship that we have. Now here you can see that our e-com container has been deployed that we are using for our today's purposes. So one or the two things that we have to manage here. That first of all, this is the application URL, right? If I copy this and paste it into this, you can see it is very tedious. I do not want my application URL to look like that. You know, it's quite a verbiage here. I want a simple and comprehensive URL. So for that, we have custom domains here as well. So we can add our custom domains as well here. That here it is ecom TecBrix. Now let me copy and paste. Go. So yep, here we go. So this is our e-commerce application that we have hosted. So let's talk about the metrics that we want. Now metrics will help you understand that one of the question our guy asked, that what is the difference between Kubernetes and what is the difference between Azure Container Apps, that how it is pricing us a little bit less than a Kubernetes service. So let's say I can select my metric according to the CPU usage. So as you can see, that when there is traffic coming, it is our instances have scaled up. But when there is no traffic, let's say there is not a single traffic coming to our app, sample app, we can literally scale. It says, you can see here, it scales to 0. You will not have any of the inactivity phase running, and when there is an inactivity phase, there is no CPU running. You can clearly see that. Now, according to the CPU usage, we can also see that how our replica count is working, how our containers has basically scaled up. We can see we can click on replica count, and it will show you that how, according to the CPU, your replica count has increased. So as you can see, when there is no traffic, when it is in the inactive phase, the replica count has scaled to 0, but when some traffic came, it scales to 1, and it has scaled up to 6. So it has scaled up to 6. So we can also control that. We already told you about that, how we can have still a little bit of management from the Azure Container Apps. You can still manage your replica count. You can here deliberately select that, okay, I want my replicas to, you can either go up to 30, and you can even restrict your Azure Container Apps to even go to 1. As you can say, this is one of the key perspective of the Azure Container Apps that they have to provide us. So let's go back. Okay, so we also have continuous deployment thing going on with the Azure Container Apps. We will discuss that in hopefully in the upcoming sessions. So let's come back to our e-commerce app. So let's say if you want to have an admin access, you just type /admin, enter, and here we go. We have the admin dashboard where we can see our categories. We can delete and add our products. We can see of the what orders we had. We can see about the pricing. We have different sidebars that is here. So that is the thing that we have hosted our e-commerce application on the Azure Container Apps. So you can also copy this application URL as well, so it will go to the same pages too. Yep.